off for a little bit, but I wanted to be here.
I understand. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
Hello, Judge Barner.
Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day today.
Yes, you too. You.
Great. Thank you so much for having us again.
Oh, thank you for being a speaker. We appreciate it so much.
Put myself on mute in the meantime, but thank you again.
Hello, Judge Benson. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We will get started here in about 5 minutes, but thank you for your timeliness. I appreciate it.
I find that if I try to get on early, I have no problem getting on. It's when I wait until the last minute that I can't get on.
I agree. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us a little bit early. We're going to go ahead and get started in about 3 more minutes. I'll give everyone some more time to join us here.
Thank you for organizing this.
Oh, thank you for speaking. We appreciate it. Okay, I have 3:30, so we are going to go ahead and get started. So hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to our Women's Empowerment Panel, Celebrating Womanhood, brought to you by NSU Law's Real Property, Probate, and Trust Law Society, and co-hosted by the Florida Association of Women Lawyers. First, I ask all attendees to please mute yourselves if you haven't done so already, and turn your cameras on if you are able to. Also, please hold all of your questions until our question and answer session at the end. But if you think of a question beforehand, please feel free to write it in the chat box, and I promise we'll try to get to it. I will start by introducing myself, my board members in attendance this evening, each panelist, and then we will begin. So my name is Heather Lee O'Keefe, and I will be moderating tonight's discussion. I am in my final semester of law school at NSU, where I am the president of the Real Property, Probate, and Trust Law Society, and I'm also involved in multiple other executive boards on campus. I currently work as the legal assistant to the managing partner of WFP Law, which is an estate planning, business planning, and asset protection firm in Plantation, Florida, and I plan to continue working there after graduating and passing the bar exam, of course. Ultimately, I would like to combine my legal degree with my journalism and political science background. My ultimate goal is to work as a full-time attorney and obtain a part-time role as a legal commentator for a major news network, and possibly even host my own TV show one day. I have worked as a television for the Lifestyle Network's local TV series that airs on South Florida Comcast channels on Wednesdays and Fridays. So if I look familiar, you may have seen me on TV. If you'd like to learn more about me or check out some of my TV episodes, you can visit my blog and website, blondebarrister.com. Now, I would like to introduce you to our board members who are in attendance this evening and helped me put this event together. First on my screen here, I see Heather. If you'd like to unmute and introduce yourself quickly.
Hi, everyone. I am a 2L here at Nova. I am responsible part of the e-board and responsible for our social media and marketing. I have enjoyed being part of this organization. I am not sure what I'll be practicing when I leave law school, but the experience that I come with is I was a paralegal for 10 years prior to coming to law school, and a majority of the focus was in probate, trust, and guardianship litigation. So I'm familiar with that and looking forward to exploring other areas as well. And I'm glad that all of you are here to join us.
And also Heather is the one who created our beautiful flyer that you all saw circulated. So thank you so much, Heather, for that. Next, I see Steven Stringer. He is our vice president. If you want to say hello, Stevie.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming today. Looks like a good turnout. I am a current 3L. I am actually interning for Amy Brima, who is part of our panel here. And I recently moved to internship or to Denver for this internship, and I'm very excited to be here and learning about Colorado real estate.
Rainey, who is our treasurer. Rainey, if you want to say hello.
Yeah, hi, I'm Rainier, and I'm a 2L student. And in addition to being a law student, I'm also a master's student at the Huizinga College of Business. I'm getting a master's in the science of real estate development at the same time I'm getting my law degree. So I look forward to practicing real estate law in just a couple of years.
Next, I see Samantha Harris, who is our secretary. Sam, if you want to say hello.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for coming. I'm Sam. I'm a 3L at Nova. I'm currently a CLI at the Broward PD's office, so totally different track from real estate, property, and probate, but I'm keeping my options open.
And we have Emily here. Emily, would you like to say hello?
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a 2L and I am currently interning at an estate planning law firm, which I love. So yeah.
Awesome. And did I miss any other of our board members? Let me see. Oh, Michael. Hello, Michael. He is our 1L representative. If you want to say hello.
Hi, I'm Michael Bartley. I'm a 1L at NSU. Sorry. I worked as a property developer for the Sembler Company in St. Petersburg prior to law school that made me want to become a real property attorney. And thank you all for coming.
Okay, I have a lot of little heads on my screen. So if anyone else wants to introduce themselves that I missed, go ahead and do that now or forever hold your peace. Okay, and without further ado, I would like you to meet our fantastic panelists for this evening. I will let you all introduce yourselves individually. I'll go in the order I see you on my screen here. So Judge Barner, you are first if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Ms. O'Keefe, and thank you very much to NSU, to all the students who are in the audience and everyone else who's watching. My name is Judge Florence Taylor Barner. It's a mouthful. Nobody ever really does call me by my full name. Think about that. I always say this, but it's true. Only your parents call you by your full name when you're getting in trouble. So everybody just calls me Judge Flo. So I'm Judge Flo Barner, and I do sit in the County Civil Division. I'm in the main courthouse in Fort Lauderdale. And I also have the privilege of running the community court in Fort Lauderdale as well. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Next on my little Zoom chat here is Judge Betsy Benson. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Judge Betsy Benson. I have the honor to practice law with, be in the civil division with Judge Barner and Judge Miranda and Judge Powell. And before I became a judge, Samantha, I was a public defender for many years. So it's wonderful to see you here, and I'm excited about today.
Thank you. And next we have Judge Josephina Miranda.
Would help if I unmute myself, right? Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here. I'm very pleased to be part of this. I am a judge here in the Central Courthouse as well, with our colleagues Betsy Benson and Florence Barner. We do have not one of our speakers, but we do have our supportive colleagues here. Judge Jackie Powell is here with us. Thank you so much, Judge Powell, for joining us. And we do also have Judge Stacy Ross is here as well. Thank you, Judge Ross, for joining us as well. Always supportive of each other and trying to help each other along. I have been on the bench since 2013. I am a very, very proud graduate of NSU Shepherd Broad College of Law from 1999. So I'm very happy to always give back to any of the events that NSU is willing to put on. And I also am a board member for the Broward County Women Lawyers Association, which is a chapter of the Florida Association of Women Lawyers. So very excited about the partnership that fall has with the schools, and it's our initiative this year to reach out to our school chapters and make sure that we do our part in mentoring young lawyers. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation this afternoon.
Thank you so much. I love our little support group that we have here. Thank you for everyone in attendance, especially fellow judges here. That means the world to me. So thank you all for speaking. We have two more speakers that I would like to introduce. We have attorney Amy Brima.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. It's nice to meet all of you. My name is Amy Brima, and I have been a commercial real estate lawyer for 20 years. The entire time in private practice. I've worked at a very large law firm in Denver for about 3/4 of my practice, and for the last 5 years, I've been on my own. I work in a community of lawyers that is called Law Bank, and it's a unique opportunity for solo and small practitioners where we collaborate and share resources. And so that's actually why I thought it would be a good place for Stephen to intern with me, because he doesn't just get exposed to me, but to other people as well. And we have a great mentoring program through Law Bank, and I think mentorship is really important. So I think what you're doing here is fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. And I love that we have lawyers from all over, not just Florida. So thank you for bringing diversity to our panel this evening. And last but not least, we have attorney Christine Schaefer. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks Heather for including me. Hi everyone, my name is Chrissy. I own the Legacy Law Firm. I'm an elder lawyer, so we focus on, of course, traditional estate planning, but also long-term care planning, Medicaid planning, and estate administration. I've been doing it for just about 8 years, so I'm still a young attorney.
Okay, thank you so much to all of our panelists for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to join our panel this afternoon. I sent out an email to our student body, and I've received some student submitted questions. So we will go ahead and begin with that. Beginning with my favorite question that I received, Beyonce stated the following related to women's empowerment. We need to reshape our own perception of how we view ourselves. We have to step up as women and take the lead. I would like to know, how have you stepped up in your respective roles as judges or lawyers to take the lead? Anyone can chime in at any time.
Well, I guess I'll go first. Well, I mean, that's a great question. Think about what we all are doing right now, right? We're coming together to have this conversation. We're being supportive of each other. We have our fellow colleagues who are here being supportive of us. That is one way that we take that step forward to lead as women and supporting each other. Because I literally, anytime someone asks me to do a panel, I always ask, well, can I bring a couple friends with me? I always ask, can I involve my other fellow judges? Because it's one of those things that's really important, that you realize that the judiciary, there's 90 of us, or there are about 90 judges in Broward right now. And the majority of those judges are women right now. We have taken over the men, and so I think it's so important that we support each other. And in particular, in my case, I love my work that I do in the community court. I think that that's one aspect of being a judge, where I'm actually out in the community. It's a different type of court. It's actually not done at the courthouse. It is done at Fort Lauderdale City Hall. And most recently, we were at the testing facility over on Sunrise at Holiday Park. So we're back in City Hall chambers, but that is a program that is geared towards helping the at-risk, meaning the at-large people in our community. So it's a wonderful way to give back and actually to lead by example, because I can tell you, Judge Benson has stood in for me to cover court many a time. And it really is a rewarding experience. So I think supporting each other in those aspects are ways that we lead.
I love that. I had no idea that women have taken over the judicial circuit in Broward. That's amazing. I love that. Women's empowerment, all about it. If anyone else would like to chime in on that question, please feel free. This is a casual conversational panel, so feel free to chime in at any time.
Well, I'd like to thank the men that are here supporting us. I think that it's really important. And sometimes I feel that we can sound like we're not happy that men are involved in everything that we're doing. And I think it's a collaboration of everybody working together and trying to help one another and build each other up And I think that men being supportive of women is an incredibly important part of our success and our partnership. So I want to thank the gentlemen that are here this afternoon. I think one of the best ways that I can tell you that I lead or try to lead at least is and a lot of the things that I may say this afternoon may sound corny because I'm a corny person, but one of my very favorite quotes is actually from Joe DiMaggio, the New York Yankees outfielder. And something that he said many, many years ago has always resonated with me. And he says that a person always doing his or her best becomes a natural leader just by example. So I really don't consider myself a leader. I've been very lucky in attaining the position that I'm in. I'm very grateful for what I've been able to accomplish over the years. But I guess what I try to focus on is just doing my best every single day, trying to lead by example. I really believe that my actions speak louder than anything else that I might say in any kind of a public setting. And so by just working hard and doing my best, I believe little by little, that's how you lead, and that's how you find people who want to follow you and or work with you, is by laying that foundation. So that's my take on being a good leader.
What she's forgetting to tell you all is how she leads. Because we're on the 13th floor of the courthouse, and she's the person we all run to when we have a question. So that's how she leads. I mean, really, she really is a mentor to all of us judges, especially us new ones. We get to ask her any question, and having that open door and that communication is important. She's also involved with the Pace Center for Girls. I mean, she does so many things. She's too humble to tell you herself, so I'm just going to do it. She's involved with the Broward County Women Lawyers. She's been the judicial liaison as long as I can remember, and she is really one of those judges that gets involved. She's always at the student functions, like these type of things, and she doesn't publicize it, but that's kind of why she has me, and I think that that's important, that we support each other. And yes, we do thank all the men, because I'm a mother to a young man. And I think that is something that is so important, that our young men, including, okay, he's not my son, but Reed, who's in the audience, Reed Levin is my mentee. It's important that they're here to support us, and we thank you for that. So, okay, I'm not going to gush anymore, Judge, I promise. But Judge Benson, the other judges who are on here as well. I mean, I wanted to take a moment to ask the two attorneys, actually, tell us what it's like for you, because we're removed from this. What is it like for you to lead?
I actually was going to say mentorship, because as a young lawyer coming out of law school, that's something that I couldn't find. And when I did, I was so grateful for it. So now, even though I'm still a young lawyer, as I progress and I have more experience, that's one way I try to just contribute back to our industry and our young lawyers. Like, even if it's somebody that I should see as a competition, if they're asking for a petition, they're asking for help on procedure, I'm more than happy to help them, because it was just yesterday that I was trying to ask a clerk for help on how to do something. So mentorship is just huge. And that's the one thing I try my best to focus on as far as being a leader, just by leading by example and filling the gaps with what I saw was a huge gap, like just being there for each other.
I would add that I think it's really important to be visible, both in your community and in your field of practice. And because when you're visible, you can mentor women and men in guiding them along. And being kind to everyone, I think, is really important, and a lesson that particularly women need to be kind to other women and help guide them along. But I think being involved in your community also is another really great way to be visible, and also just to be a mentor and attract mentees. I've had the benefit of great mentors, and now I am a mentor. I'm involved in a mentorship circle, which I know I'm from Colorado, and it's awesome that your judiciary has a lot of women. That is not the case in Denver, so I applaud you. But our Office of Attorney Regulation has a mentorship program that I think is fantastic.
That's incredible. Thank you all for sharing. I know we skipped one. Judge Benson, if you'd like to chime in, feel free.
Oh, well, my mute button's misbehaving, but that's all right. You know, Judge Flo took a lot of what I was going to say about Judge Miranda, because she is very humble and just someone that I want to be more like, and is always so selfless with her time and her help. And I'm really so happy and honored that I get to practice to be in the same division as Judge Miranda. But you know, when I hear that statement, it makes me look back on my career. I was a lawyer for 33 years before I became a judge. And it's changed so much. You know, the idea of taking the lead as a woman was just, you know, not even within the realm. You know, you were to consider yourself lucky to be a lawyer. You know, it wasn't feminine for you to be assertive. You know, you got no, I never heard a male lawyer called shrill, but women lawyers get called shrill all the time when they're advocating. And I think part of taking the lead is being able to know your own worth. And, you know, I think it's really important for you to try to remember to record your accomplishments. I didn't have a file of all the briefs that I wrote. I wrote a brief and I went on to the next case. I didn't have a file of all the cases I had tried. I didn't have a file of all the times people had recognized my accomplishments. And I think those are things that you have to do to know your own worth in order to then become a leader, to seek a judgeship or to seek a position. So those are the things I kind of had to learn. I didn't know how to walk in and ask for a raise. I thought I was supposed to be lucky to have a job, you know. So I've seen it evolve, and I'm so impressed that that now women are seeing themselves as leaders and not seeing that as unfeminine or something they're not supposed to be. You know, that's part of who you are now, and it's really a great thing, and it helps us now to see the issues that are arising. You know, you know, when I was young, I didn't know when I was being discriminated against because I was a female lawyer. I didn't know that this was wrong. I didn't know to step up and say, you know, I deserve better than that, and you're out of line. So I think these are great things that are happening, and I'm just excited to be part of the legal community right now.
I love that you mentioned knowing your own self-worth. I think that's something that a lot of young women in today's world, especially in the legal field, struggle with. So that leads me into my next question is, how do you admire someone else's success without doubting your own self-worth? I think maybe Judge Barner would be great to start this one on how you were complimenting Judge Miranda. I love that.
Well, because it's true. Isn't it weird to talk about yourself? Like, I think, I don't know if I'm the only one, but when I was running for judge, I mean, I ran with Judge Benson. It was the strangest thing to be talking about yourself and everything that you've done. And then when you hear yourself talk about these things, you're like, oh yeah, I did do that. Oh, you know, there's a name for that. It's actually called the imposter syndrome, where we don't want to take credit or claim our own successes because we don't think that we're worthy of them. And it's a common thing that happens with, you know, successful people. We don't think that we belong. We don't think that, you know, we're as successful as the other person. But my thing is, I always look at these other women. Like Judge Benson isn't also telling me this. When I was a baby prosecutor, she was the public defender in my courtroom. So I'm a new lawyer going against a seasoned lawyer, and I'm learning from her. She was always humble and kind, you know. And I think about that now. Here we are, you know, fast forward, a decade and a half later, and we're both running for judge, and I remember how she treated me. I remember how she made me feel about myself. She made me feel confident, you know, to walk into a courtroom, not shaking in my boots because I was terrified, you know, and to see her success made me appreciate my own, because I'm watching her as a mom, as a seasoned lawyer, run, you know, not that is no small thing. I don't know if you realize how many people there are in Broward County. There are almost 2 million people in this one county. That's more than several states combined. So when you think about that, you know, and the fact I'm watching her, so I'm like in awe. I'm just like, wow, you know, that's something that I want to ascribe to. And then I look at the same thing with Judge Powell. I'm just like, wow, you know, Powell for the people. She was amazing. to watch these people who I've watched my whole legal career, now I get to be on the bench with them. I mean, come on, I literally am happy to be here, you know, and happy to serve in the same capacity as the rest of them, because that for me, again, lifting each other up, because I'm amazed at all these things that these women have done.
And I think Judge Barner is correct in that I think it's all about a change of mentality. We don't have to, this is not a competition. We shouldn't be looking at other people, comparing ourselves to them, and then feeling bad feelings if someone maybe is gotten a little further in their success or a little further in their career. Every one of our successes with our friends, with our families, with anyone that we know, and even with strangers, needs to be looked at as that their success is my success. And if a woman can, you know, shatter the next ceiling, or if she can make the next step, or she can, you know, she can become the partner in my law firm and be the first woman partner in my law firm, then we should be happy for her. We should be holding her out. Everyone's different. We have to all focus on our own positives, recognize other people's positives. And again, another quote, I'm sorry, my lights just went off. Another quote that I try to live by, Eleanor Roosevelt said many years ago, that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So it's your own doing, it's your own fault. If you let someone's success bring you down versus lifting you up, then shame on you. You need to refocus your priorities. You need to refocus your successes. You need to have some self introspection and realize that we can all lift each other up. We just have to ask for that hand to be lifted up with, and instead of just sitting there and saying, well, I guess I can't do it. You can do it, and you can't, and you have to ask for the help to do it, to get it done in. We can't just do this alone. We have to, it's a group project.
I love that quote you shared, Judge Miranda. I'm a quote person too. One of my favorite quotes is that, you know, roses and sunsets are both beautiful, but they look nothing alike. So it's unfair to compare yourself to others in your field or not in your field. And I've actually received a follow-up question in regards to this. Maybe the attorneys can answer this one, is how do you personally measure your own success?
I measure it based on my happiness. I mean, the older that I get, the more I value my time with my family and with myself. And so, you know, as long as my professional life is making me happy and aligned with what I want in my personal life, then to me, that's success. But of course, you know, there was a time that accolades and those sorts of things were inspiring too. So kind of combining that with what we were talking about earlier, and it's all about having the right mindset. So if somebody else is succeeding in a way that you want to, I've always just tried to be inspired by it. And if you're comfortable enough, you could always ask them, you know, hey, how did you reach this success? Or do you have any advice? Because we could always learn from each other. And that's how we grow into our best selves. But you just have to stay authentic and be the best version of you.
I would just add, I really value having the time to do everything that I want to do, whether that is working, taking care of my kids, going for a walk, doing yoga. I'm finally at a place in my life where I feel in control of my time. And as lawyers, that's our commodity. So I feel like once you reach the point in your career where you can really manage your time in a manner that suits you, that is success.
I love that. And that actually leads me right into my next question is it possible for female lawyers and judges to juggle the competing demands of a family life and a career? Because I know that's a common stigma among, you know, professional women, but especially women in our field.
Yes, yes, and yes. That was an easy one. Yes. I mean, I'm not telling you it is easy. No, no. I don't know how my mom did this with 3 kids. My mind cannot wrap around that. And I have 2 kids, and I'm still having court hearings every single day. I'm still, you know, I don't call out for work. I go to work every single day. I'm full on present mom. Like, I'm PTA mom. I'm, you know, class mom. You know, that's important. And also kind of piggyback off what you said, Amy, about being able to manage your own time. That is a commodity that is worth more than gold, to be able to manage your own time. And having the ability to also have a partner, you know, my husband. I mean, I could not do this without my husband or my family, you know, but the reality is, again, I always say we have a village, and that is my village of all these people who are surrounding me to help me so I can do this job. And I think that that's important, that as women, I think we all think that we have to do everything all the time. I mean, how many of us think that we have to cook, clean, do the laundry, and be a full-time judge, lawyer, and a what? No, listen. You can hire someone to do the laundry. You can hire someone to clean your house. So you can put your time towards things that are more important, and that's your family. And that's one lesson that I have to say that my mom taught me, that I had to really understand what she meant. Don't do everything. You know, there's an old Nigerian saying that says that women, we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. We don't have to. We really don't. And I think that leads to more happiness as well.
And I agree with Judge Barner. I think a lot of it has to do with our own expectations and what we expect of ourselves. And unfortunately, maybe some of the stereotypes that are out there that make us believe that, one, that this is what we want, and two, that if we want it, that we have to be superheroes. I am not Wonder Woman, even though my best friend keeps saying that I am. I'm not. And I have to realize what my limitations are. And it's okay to have limitations. We're not superheroes. We want to wear the cape, but we also have to be mindful of what our limitations are. And if we have unrealistic expectations, we are going to fail. We have to have realistic expectations. We have to have some self-introspection. We have to realize what is going to make us happy and what it is that we want out of life. I think sometimes we fall into a trap as women. You know, everybody expects us to have the career and be the great mom, be the great wife and grandmother and all these things that may want to fall into everything. But to actually make a conscious choice, okay, you know what? Everyone's or society is telling me this is what I'm supposed to want, but maybe that's really not what I want. That's not going to work for me. So a lot of times people have to make these types of choices. And so maybe it's not a terrible thing if you decide you don't want the big career and you want to focus on your family. It's not a horrible thing. It's not a decision that's going to put you back into the time warp and make you a lesser of a woman. It may be that your career is really, really important to you and you don't have an interest in having children. It's okay to say that. It's okay to make that decision. So I think sometimes we can be our own worst enemy by having these unrealistic expectations and thinking that if we don't have all these things, that we're a failure. So, you know, as I've gone through life, and Judge Benson and I are around that same age, we've come up out through the ranks. I was a paralegal. Heather mentioned that she was a paralegal before going to law school. I was a paralegal before I decided to go to law school. So, you know, I came up through the ranks when there was times when, you know, it was okay to make comments about women's appearances, and it was okay to make comments about a paralegal. I used to have situations where judges would comment and say, why aren't you wearing lipstick today? Or why aren't you wearing pantyhose today? Or something along those lines. I mean, we've come a long, long way. But again, if we don't have those realistic expectations of what's going to make us happy, we'll never be happy.
I love that. And I love that, Judge Barner, especially you mentioned your mom as a role model for you. I know that my mom has been a complete role model for me, and she's really fueled my passion and going to law school. And I probably wouldn't have gone to law school if it wasn't for my mom. So I was wondering if you all had a role model who has fueled your passion for the law, whether it be a mother, a female figure, or someone else in your life who has really been there to support you along the way.
Barbara Perriente. I mean, she was going through chemo, and she still heard oral arguments in the Florida Supreme Court. She wrote more. She was like the RBG of this Florida Supreme Court with her dissents, and she's truly a happy warrior. But my dad was a huge role model. I mean, my father was a lawyer for 53 years, and he really taught me that the law, you know, becoming a lawyer was not an opportunity to get somebody get your dry cleaning for you or to get a bigger house. Being a lawyer is a responsibility to society, to do good, to help others. But I still have role models. I mean, I still learn and still am inspired by women in the law and people in the law. So.
I would just say to young lawyers, not in terms of age, but early in your career, that it's really important to find a mentor who is similarly situated to you or where you want to be. I was really lucky. I had a woman lawyer who had 2 small kids who was my mentor, and I didn't have any kids at the time, but I sort of knew I wanted to have kids. And it was really beneficial to me having a woman who was seeming to be being both a mom and a lawyer and being successful at both. So I think it's really important to reach out because you don't always find mentors in your firm, but you can find them in other places. And it's really important to have a mentor that you can talk through things with and ask the questions you're too embarrassed to ask other colleagues. And it's just really helpful to have that relationship. And it can be long-term. Like the woman who was my mentor is still one of my closest friends 20 years later. So it's really important to have a mentor, but also like a village. Like Judge Flo said, that's how you like survive in your community, is to have a village of people who can support you.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, I really do preach the village. Everyone's tired of hearing me saying it, but it's the truth. What can you do without a village behind you? I mean, what couldn't you do without a village behind you? You think about it from that perspective, right? So the idea that you have one mentor, okay, forget that, guys. You can have multiple mentors. You don't have to have just one, because for me, I didn't have just one. Again, I look at all these other judges as mentors to me, whether they realize they were mentoring me or not. I watched them. I literally, like Judge Ross, I don't know how Judge Ross does it. She has kids. She's a circuit court judge. I literally watched this woman, and she created a teen court program. I mean, I'm watching her do this. So whether she realizes she's mentoring me, she's mentoring me through osmosis. That's how do you know what I mean? Like to get that opportunity to watch other women doing things that I wanted to do was what I think, you know, part of the thing that helped me. And okay, I'm going to be honest. You guys are too young probably to remember this TV show, but for some of us, we remember the show. Remember the Cosby Show? There was a Mrs. Cosby was a lawyer. And that's what I grew up watching. So I grew up in my mind thinking, I'm going to be Mrs. Cosby someday. She had 5 kids. She was put together. She was a lawyer. Like, she ran that household. And then fast forward now in real life, okay, minus the 5 kids, there's only 2, you know, and I feel like I'm a little bit of her, you know, and just watching what she did. And I know it's a TV character, but the reality is it's who I got to watch, because there weren't that many Black women that were in the position that I'm in right now. And that's something that I take very seriously and hope to change as being a judge and doing these types of events. But I'd like to hear from the lawyers. What's it like for you?
I think I'm the only one that didn't go. I wasn't going to say anything just because my role model was my mom as well, and she's not an attorney. She cleaned houses, but I still learned a lot from her work ethic, because if she was cleaning a floor, she would want to do the best job in the entire universe, which was just amazing. So that sticks with me. And she would also bring me to every house and make me clean it with her, and just push the fact that either I could clean this house or I could own it one day. So she's definitely responsible for me being where I am. And then, you know, I have more than one role model now. I try to surround myself with other, you know, ladies that own their own law firms that are doing it, in my opinion, much better than myself. And I try my best to provide value and things that I'm good at in my strengths. And I appreciate any input from them. So I like the idea of having multiple, you know, mentors and people that you can bounce ideas off of now that I finally am in the legal industry.
And your mom's awesome, because my mom was a maid in a hotel, and that's how I learned how to make beds at 5.
Yeah, so I can make a mean bed too.
Right?
I mean,
like, you learned. I mean, that type of work ethic, that's, come on, that counts.
And they go for like 10, 12 hours a day. So now when I complain, I'm like, I can't complain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perspective.
Exactly.
I love that you mentioned that, Chrissy. My mom wasn't in the legal field either, but she always pushed me to go to law school and continue pursuing, higher education. She always told me that education is the one thing that no one can ever take away from you. And that really stuck with me throughout my whole educational career. And it's just really, really stuck with me. So I love that you mentioned that. I have a follow-up question from someone in the chat that would like to hear from you about a time in your careers where you have made a difference in another woman's life or vice versa. Not all at once now.
All right, and since no one's chiming in, I have one story that I'm very, very proud of, well, it's not a story, it's a person that I'm very, very proud of. So before becoming a judge, I was a general magistrate for many years, and I was assigned to the foster care division. And so I had, as Judge Ross sees these young people come in and out of the system with so many obstacles in their lives. I think a lot of us here are successful because we had parents that were there for us and that picked us up when we stumbled and pointed us in the right direction and gave us a good role model. So we're very lucky in that. And unfortunately, there are lots of young people out there that don't have that ability. And so I spent 7 years doing 7 years, yeah, 7 years doing dependency foster care cases. And for some strange reason, I connected with one particular young lady. And I met her when she was 15 years old, and she's going to be 26 now. And for some reason we connected. I don't know why, but we did. And together we have learned so much from each other. I've learned so much from her. So she always tells me that, she's happy that she met me and I helped her. But honestly, I really feel like she helped me understanding a completely different life that I didn't have, and was able to incorporate that into my day-to-day thinking of people and trying to help out and reach out. And so, she was homeless for a while when she left foster care, and we dug in deep, and we got her a job and a place to live. And now she's working, she's paid off her own car, she's going to school. And I'm just as proud as I can I mean, I'm not her mom, but I feel just as proud as I could possibly be if she was my daughter. So it's something that I'm just always so happy for, that being in this arena and being able to try and give back to someone. She's my shining star. So that's my feel-good story.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Would anyone else like to share a story?
I think, the wonderful, well, I don't have a one person, but one of the greatest things about being a judge is being able to pick up the phone and make those connections and help people. And, I spent, like I said, as a public defender, it might take 9 or 10 calls to try to make that connection. When you're a judge, it's maybe 1 or 2. And it's just a lot. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to do, to be able to we have so many evictions right now. We have so many people who are in need right now, and to be able to help them, what starts out as an eviction hearing turns into a situation where we're connecting landlords, tenants, and assistants. So it's just the greatest thing in the world. I think helping people, when you talk about what makes you happy, there's no better feeling in the whole world than somebody starting out a hearing thinking that they're going to be out on the street tonight, and by the end they might be able to keep their home. I mean, that's just a wonderful way to help the world. It's just great, feels great. And that's the power of the law. I mean, all of us have that ability to really make a difference through the law. I just think it's the greatest avocation you could ask for.
I agree. That's one of the main reasons why I chose law, is because I wanted a career that was, not only academically stimulating, but also one that would provide me with a career that would allow me to give back. Because I think community service and, reaching out and community outreach is so important, not only in the legal field, but just in general. And my last question here before we open up the floor to our question and answer session is, women have come a long way in general and in the legal community, but what is one thing that we still need to work on, or what advice do you have for both women and men as we prepare for the legal profession?
Again, I would encourage you all to Google what the imposter syndrome is and diagnose yourself, because only you can treat yourself for that thing. I mean, and that's a reality. If you think about it, we all go to WebMD and we always diagnose ourselves with God knows what. But take a moment and think about it. Am I doing something where I don't, and this applies to men, by the way, and women, this applies to all people. Am I doing something to make myself feel less than? Am I repeating the negative thought over and over again, even though there's no evidence for it, even though there's actual evidence to the contrary, that you are successful and that you should, be not revel in your success, but you should be happy about that. I mean, you earned it. What's wrong with being proud of what you earned? What's wrong with being, okay with that? I worked really hard for something and I've achieved that goal. Don't discount yourself. So I think that that's some advice that I want to make sure that everyone Googles the imposter syndrome, diagnose yourself. And then you need to come up with a plan, because I do believe in planning. I call it the 3P plan: planning, preparing, and pushing forward. The reason I'm looking over it's because it's on my whiteboard right next to me. And I look at it every day. I do try to focus on the positive. I'm literally reading what's on my whiteboard. Don't let one negative thing taint all of the positive things that you're doing in your life. That ties into the whole imposter syndrome thing. You need to remember that you are worthy, you've earned it, and don't feel bad about it. Okay, we have to leave that in the past. We don't feel bad about these things. We earned it. This is something to be proud of. It's an uplifting moment.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Judge Borner. I love your mindset, and Chrissy said that in the chat too. You're so empowering. I love it. That's what this panel is all about.
From the best judges over here, I'm watching them.
So if any other of our panelists would like to kind of speak to, what advice you have for, young women and men as we prepare to enter this field.
Well, I don't want to, I love all of the uplifting things that we're talking about right now, but I do want, again, I guess, going back to our realistic expectations and not having a mindset where everything's going to be rosy and everything's going to be wonderful. I think one of the things that really shocked me into reality when I became an attorney was I had all of these wonderful aspirations to help. And it took me just a short period of time to realize it, is that as attorneys, we're dealing in everyone's misery. So the people that are going to be around us, our clients, the people that are appearing before us, people that are involved in our representation, if you're representing someone, the only reason they're there is because something horrible is happening to them. I mean, the only two good things that happen to us as judges is when we get to marry somebody and when we get to preside over an adoption. Other than that, people are coming to the courthouse or people are coming to your law offices with, for you to try to fix the misery that's in their lives right now. So as an attorney or a new lawyer or someone that's still in law school moving forward, there should be some emphasis on trying to make sure that you can balance that, just as though the same that there's a lot of studies about the nurses and doctors and them their involvement in people's terrible health issues and their misery. It can really burn you out, and it can make you miserable as well. You can take on a lot of the sadness and the responsibilities and the breakdowns that people are having. So you have to be very mindful of your own mental health. You have to be very mindful of your own physical health. You have to be selfish sometimes. You have to have the power of saying no. You can't overcommit yourself. You really have to take care of yourself. And if you don't, If you can't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of anyone else. You're not going to be able to take care of your family. You're not going to be able to take care of your practice. You're not going to be able to take care of your clients. So there has to be a little bit of selfishness involved. And I think that selfishness takes on a really bad connotation. It's really self-preservation. And it's really important that you set aside some time for yourself, find that one thing in your life that will make you happy, that you can, walk away from your job for a little while, walk away from your schooling for a little while, so that you can reboot and do your job to the best of your ability. Because if you start drowning in all of that, you're going to be no help to anyone, and you're going to harm yourselves. So that's always something that I try to focus on for myself, as well as focus on for my friends, and the mentoring that I try to do is always remind people of that.
Yeah. Real quickly, everything Judge Flo said and everything Judge Miranda said, and I would remind you all that we're all on Zoom all the time, and that you can go on the 17th Judicial Circuit website and hit our links and come into our courtrooms and watch hearings, or if we're not, I know that when somebody comes to visit, when my hearings concluded, I'm happy to stay and chat if I have an opportunity. And so reach out. I'll just say, when I was a young lawyer, I felt like I was supposed to know everything. I thought, I'm a lawyer now, I've gone to law school, and the client would ask me a question, or I would know there was some issue I had to resolve for a client. And if I didn't know how to fix it, I would try to put it off. And I think it's important to make sure you return your calls, make your calls, because the number one reason for bar grievances is not having contact. Clients mostly complain about not a lawyer not returning calls. And so reach out to someone and see if you can get a handle on how to resolve the situation or where to turn, and go ahead and try to power through the issue, because they tend to get bigger. Every once in a while they go away. I'm not going to say the odds are, sometimes things will resolve, but most of the time, I think young lawyers make their mistakes when they don't pursue their cases, don't try to make sure they're working their cases. But please reach out to me if you are so inclined.
And to piggyback off of what Judge Benson was saying, you all, as students at the Law Center, College of Law, it was a law center when I was there. Sorry, I keep slipping on that. Should have received an email. The student body there, as well as the Broward Women Lawyers and the 17th Judicial Circuit, is going to be having a mentoring watch court for 2 weeks, for the first 2 weeks in March. So if you're interested, please sign up. I have about 26 different judges that volunteered to have you come into their Zoom hearings and watch different proceedings. And then at the end of that 2-week period, we're going to be having a wrap-up session and maybe having some breakouts with different areas of law, so that you can talk to lawyers and judges about what you saw over that 2-week period. So if you haven't seen that email, please look for it. We're really excited. This is going to be our first attempt at trying to do this virtually. We have been doing it in the past in person, but really looking forward to having a good turnout and giving you all the opportunity to do some of the things that we weren't able to do as young students and young lawyers, is seeing court in person, so that you know what to expect when you get out of school. So hopefully you all have seen that flyer, and if not, please look for it.
And if I can add also, as the co-chair for the Broward County Bar Association, did you all know that it is free for you all as law students to join? So if you have not yet joined, yes, it's free. Please join the Broward County Bar Association, because you get to get a mentor, which is a judge or a lawyer in the specific field that you're interested in, which I think is kind of awesome. And also, I am the president for the Stephen Board in Support. For the Nova Law students, you all have access to the Stephen Board in Support. Please reach out to Laura Varela or to Dean Kahn about that program. That is an excellent mentorship program where you get paired again with a judge or lawyer. And we actually do exercises where we train you how to introduce evidence, like work-life balance, which is what our discussion is for this evening. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I love that. Thank you all so much for that advice. I see we only have about 10 minutes left, so I would like to open up the floor to have some students ask some questions. I know Heather Gray Boys had some questions in the chat, so I will let her go first, and then I will open up the floor.
Hi, good afternoon again, everyone. I have a question. So we've talked about a lot of empowerment here and empowering each other, but I feel like we can't forget that the mindset still exists somewhere that women are inferior. And I'm just curious if you still experience or have those experiences as a judge or as a lawyer, what those experiences are and how do you react to that? How do you assert yourself? How do you establish your, I guess, credibility, or I don't want to say dominance, but that you're just as capable of doing something as a man? Or that's kind of a couple layered question, but just, I'm sure it still exists out there. And
It does. You want to know how we joke about it. And I think number one, having a great sense of humor is going to help you in life no matter what. But oftentimes people will walk into the courtroom when we were in person and people will walk in looking right at me. I'm sitting on the bench in the row. They'll walk in, where's the judge? I don't know. You know, you have to have a sense of humor because a lot of the times people will say, well, because you look so young, I can't believe you're a judge. Yes, I am. I am. I'm not that young. I've been practicing for 15 years. I mean, yeah. And my other thing that I think is really funny is there are times when I'm out and about and I'm not in the road and I'm walking around and people are looking at me and they're like, are you really a judge? Like, for real? Yes, I swear. Number one, I'm a grown up. And two, yes, I am a judge. But it's a thing, you have to have a sense of humor. That's one thing I learned: to protect my heart, have a sense of humor. Don't let everything get to you, because you can take everything personally and that's gonna hurt you. As my mother said, getting mad, does it hurt anybody else but you? So what's the point? You know, it's not worth your time or energy.
I would add to that it's you can use it to your advantage and turn the tables on people all the time. When I figured out, I think when I was a young lawyer, it used to anger me, but then that doesn't get you anywhere. But I can't tell you how advantageous it is to you if you're dealing with an old man who thinks this is a dumb woman who's not going to know how to handle this situation. You better represent your client, and your client gets the benefit of the other person's ignorance. So you can definitely use it to your advantage. But I think you do have to have you have to have a rough edge about it internally. It still happens all the time, though. I think every day. It's just not. It's still a constant.
yeah, I can imagine there's some more subtleties to that where you just know that they think that you're inferior, or just more blanket or just more obvious, such as what Judge Flo is describing, of walking into a courtroom and expecting to see a man sitting up there in the robe and not a young woman sitting up there presiding in such a, in an important role. And so I'm sure on various levels that there certainly is that experience. And how do you assert yourself? And I think it's just a matter of more of what I'm hearing is really coming from internally, of knowing your self-worth, having that confidence, and not letting that mentality bother you.
That's very true. And one of the things is I think we have to be careful with the way we react to it. I really work hard not to. You shouldn't be angry about it, and you shouldn't be mean about it. And I don't think if you're being disrespected, that the response should be disrespect back, because all that does, I believe, is fuel some of the stereotypes. Again, the true way to deal with it is to be polite, to be assertive, in feeling confident in your stance, but not being so indignant about it that it's taken in a context where now, if someone already has that mentality and you react in the way that they're expecting you to react, then all you end up doing is fueling the stereotype. So each person has to learn how to deal with it in their own mentality. Judge Barner may deal with it in a more of a humorous way. I take a different approach to it, where I'm polite but firm in my stance as to how I may, and obviously it's going to also impact as to what type of scenario you're in, what kind of a circumstance you're in. If it's something that is kind of light and it's not so offensive that you can maybe make a joke about it, or maybe kind of laugh it off, and maybe one thing, but there may be some times where it's really coming across in a very bad negative way. And so the right way to handle it may be a stern, assertive approach to it. So it's unfortunately, it's a case by case basis, but it's something that needs to be addressed. It's not something that should be ignored, because again, if someone continues to do it on a regular basis and it's not brought to their attention, then they're going to continue to have that stereotype, and they're going to continue to use that bad behavior. So it's incumbent upon all of us, both men and women. I've seen many men in a circumstance where we all may be standing around someplace, and someone may make a comment, or someone may be a little inappropriate, and before I can say anything, the other gentleman that's standing with us will be the first one to say, Tom, that's not a very smart thing to say, or that wasn't very nice, or that wasn't the right thing to say, or you should apologize, or something like that. So I think it's incumbent on all of us in every single context of whether it's whatever situation we're in, whether it's incumbent on all of us. If we see it, we have to call that action out and make sure that it's not acceptable behavior.
Thank you, everyone.
See, we're almost running out of time. I don't want to run over. So I apologize if anyone else had questions that they wanted to ask. But if you all feel comfortable sharing your email addresses, that in the chat for students to reach out if they had further questions. Before we run out of time, I wanted to make sure I thanked you all, everyone, so much for joining us today, everyone who is in attendance, to our panelists, to your fellow judges who are here supporting, family members, everyone, thank you so much. And again, on behalf of myself, RPPTLS, and NSU Law, I would like to say thank you to all of our panel members for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to join our panel today. Thank you so much. Take care and have a great evening, everyone. And before we go, I'm going to take a quick screenshot for our social media pages if everyone wants to smile really quick. Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening.
Bye-bye. Stay safe, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for putting this on.